Would you be the jerk for telling your parents that you won't pay rent and you won't do chores while you're living with them? We'll get into that in a bit, but first, am I the jerk for walking out of the bridal salon when I found out my friends were making fun of me behind my back? I have two friends, Gabby and Shelly. All of us are 23 if that matters. We were roommates in college and stayed in the same city after graduation. While the three of us are close, I've always known that Gabby and Shelly are the closest. They have a really sweet friendship. Shelly is getting married. Gabby is the maid of honor and I'm one of the bridesmaids. Over the weekend, I went with Shelly so she could look at wedding dresses. Gabby was supposed to come with us but got called into work last minute. I helped Shelly pick out some dresses, then she went with a consultant to try them on. Shelly asked that I take pictures and videos on her phone to send to her mom and Gabby. I was getting the camera ready when a text from Gabby came through. I didn't mean to click on it and was instantly going to click back out when I saw one of my Instagram pictures in their private chat from earlier that morning. Both were making fun of me for the face I was making and my outfit choice. It didn't appear to be very good nature. I admit, curiosity got the best of me, so I searched my name in the chat. I found multiple pictures that I, my boyfriend, or my mom have posted of myself, absolutely ripping them to shreds, ranging from selfies to posed shots to even a few baby pictures. They would also make fun of me in general in terms of the way I talked, wore my hair, and the way I ate. This went as far back as I could tell, at least a year. My heart broke. It all felt so juvenile in high school. While we all joke around, I would never do this to them, nor have they ever even tried to instigate these types of conversations with me about the other one-on-one. I was in tears. As someone who was bullied all through middle and high school, it just brought me back to a horrible place. I put the phone in Shelly's purse and brought it to another employee, telling her to tell Shelly that I had to go. I drove home and had a long cry. Shelly texted me by the time I made it home, asking where I went. I said I was going home and we could talk later. When she did call a few hours later, she was understandably confused and hurt that I left. I told her what I found, explaining that I only looked further because of the initial text I accidentally saw. She went off on me for looking through her private texts and said those were none of my business. She also told me I shouldn't have left the store without saying anything. I said I didn't want to make a scene, but also knew I couldn't fake being happy for her. Shelly told me the texts were all in good fun, and clearly she loves me because I'm going to be her bridesmaid. She added that I'm only hurt because I chose to read all those texts. Later on, Gabby called to tell me that I invaded Shelly's privacy and hurt her by walking out. My boyfriend and mom think I did the right thing by walking out, but obviously they're a little biased. I just want some unbiased looks. Was I a jerk to look through the texts and then leave? Was it more invasive than OP probably should have done? Sure, but I'm gonna be honest, if I were in OP's position and I saw something like that, I think I would have done the exact same thing. And frankly, considering what OP found when they did look through that, I can't fault them for looking through that. People say two wrongs don't make a right, but in this situation, I don't think there is a right. Lendy Man wrote, "Not the jerk. Searching her phone was maybe crossing the line, but that line is far less important than two supposed friends spending months making fun of you behind your back. The all-in-good fun excuse doesn't hold water because you were not a party to it. You don't hide things like that from people unless you're aware of the fallout that would happen if you didn't. I can guarantee you that the vast majority of people who will comment on this thread would never make fun of their friends to other friends behind their back. This is mean girl behavior. It's passive-aggressive, it's mean-spirited, and it's not how real friends treat their friends. They were making fun of you because they're mean and not very nice people, and they hid it from you because they're mean and not very nice people. She made excuses and blamed you for the situation because she's a mean and not very nice person. You should drop them both like a hot potato because they're mean and not very nice people. My only caveat here is if you engage in similar behavior with either of them, having private chats and making fun of other friends. If you do, then everybody sucks here. Edit, OP confirms that they do not engage in that behavior, so my initial not the jerk stands. OP responded, "I have never had similar conversations with them and never even would. We occasionally joke around, but I've only ever done it with both of them right there. Would never behind their back." Also, hi, I'm Steven, and if you guys enjoy getting to decide whether or not all of these people are jerks, why not hit those like and subscribe buttons down below? That said, our next story is, am I the jerk for offering my kid's nanny more money or hours so she won't work for my sister-in-law? My husband and I have 3 kids, 10-month-old female, 4-year-old male, and 10-year-old female. We currently have a nanny, Isabel, 22-year-old female, 3 days a week. I have to say, Isabel is freaking amazing. She drives on field trips, she does homework with the kids, she handles playdates. She's the one adult my 10-year-old likes. She's not dependent on screens, does art projects with the kids. She speaks 10-year-old, and she's even teaching them how to cook and bake. They made mini quiches a few weeks ago. My oldest is doing state testing right now and wanted a fun activity with her friends. Isabel suggested a spa day, and my daughter loved it. I set up a day for my 4-year-old to go home with his grandparents and let Isabel turn our living room into a spa. She picked up my daughter, my niece, and 2 friends, brought them to her house, and did her hair and nails while they laid back and did face masks. I guess my niece was telling her mom how cool Isabel is because my sister-in-law texted Isabel, offering her a nanny position 4 days a week, matching whatever I pay her, but only for 1 kid. Isabel showed me the text and told me that she would have to think about it because the extra money would be nice. I told her if she promised to stay, next year I'd have her at 5 days a week with a $5 per hour raise. Isabel turned my sister-in-law down, saying she received a better offer, and now she's telling my husband's family that I stole a nanny from her. They're upset that I outbid my sister-in-law and gave Isabel extra money and hours just so my sister-in-law wouldn't get her. My husband said it was petty. Am I the jerk for offering Isabel a raise and more hours so she doesn't work for my sister-in-law? Somebody like Isabel sounds absolutely amazing, and it's kind of understandable that such good childcare for your kids that is not only, well, taking care of them, but actually enriching their lives, that you wouldn't want that to go. And if that means upping their pay to something that's still within your means to retain them, I can't blame you. It's not stealing from somebody else, it's retaining. Laurel Crash wrote, "Not the jerk. Every parent knows that a good babysitter or nanny is worth their weight in gold. Your sister-in-law is the jerk for trying to poach your nanny, and you fighting to keep her should be expected. It's rich that your sister-in-law is accusing you of stealing a nanny when she tried to do the exact same thing. ETA, just make sure you follow through with the promised raise, etc. ETA 2, and if your husband has such an issue with it, tell him he's responsible next time you need a new nanny or sitter. He can do all the interviewing and contacting references and background checks and negotiations for pay. It's not so easy as find a new nanny. Your sister-in-law knows this and tried to circumvent the process." Our next story is, am I the jerk for not forcing my child to eat blueberries? Today, my wife gave our 11-year-old son some blueberries. My son said that he would rather not eat them because he doesn't really like blueberries. My wife replied, "But these are really good." So my son hesitantly tried 1 blueberry and replied, "Thanks, but I still don't like them and rather not eat the rest." I thought that was the end of it and went to the store to get groceries for dinner. When I came back, my son was crying at the table because he was forced to eat the remaining 3 blueberries. I asked my wife, "Why is he crying?" And she explained that he had to eat the blueberries because it's healthy. Thinking it was just about eating a piece of fruit, I told my son that he didn't have to eat the blueberries, but he did have to eat another piece of fruit instead, like an apple or 3 strawberries or something similar. My son immediately agreed, spat out the blueberries in the garbage can, and started eating an apple. This, much to my wife's dismay. She said I overruled her authority and that my son will never learn to eat healthy. My reply was that it was not okay to force a child or any other person to eat something they don't like, especially after they tasted it. How would she feel if I forced her to eat something she doesn't like? Why is it okay for her to not eat certain foods but not for our son? He likes enough vegetables and fruit in order to get a balanced diet, so I think we should meet him halfway and not focus on forcing him to eat stuff we know he doesn't like. And he's not really a fussy eater, so we have plenty of healthy stuff to choose from. The situation escalated, and at one point my son even said, "I'll just eat the blueberries," in an attempt to de-escalate our argument. After which he took 3 blueberries from the fridge, swallowing them almost whole just to get it over with. Sadly for him, it didn't really work because we were already too far into the argument. Although I did thank him afterwards for trying and apologized for not being able to let it slide. Am I the jerk because I didn't force my son to eat the blueberries and allowed him to take another piece of fruit he does like? 100% OP is not the jerk, and honestly I'm kind of afraid of the complications this exact type of scenario is going to create for the son, both with food and with the relationship with their own mom. How can you possibly grow up with a healthy relationship or a healthy feeling towards somebody that forces you to eat something that you find repulsive? And like OP pointed out, if the mom doesn't like something, they're not going to be forced to eat it. Dryad Dweeneth wrote, "Congrats to your wife for working so hard to mess up your child's relationship with food, and also starting an argument right in front of him so he would feel wretched and guilty over something that wasn't his fault. For freak's sake, he even tried the blueberries. He's allowed to not like things as any human being is." Not the jerk. Keep an eye on how she treats him going forward, especially when it comes to food. This incident is likely to have him doing things he doesn't want to do to reduce friction at home. And the next time she starts up with you in front of him, take it elsewhere. He doesn't need to see or hear that crap. Our next story is, am I the jerk for threatening to kick out my niece after she hacked my daughter's Roblox account? My 38-year-old female, daughter, 13-year-old female, has been playing this game called Roblox since lockdown first started as a way of playing with her friends virtually as well as curing her boredom. She was obsessed with this Roblox game that's set in a school because she missed her friends so much and it allowed her to stay connected with them. Her interest in video games has developed into an interest into technology. She's by far at the top of her IT class and has even started learning how to code in order to make her own game. My sister, 34-year-old female, and niece, 10-year-old female, have recently had to move in with us after my sister discovered that her husband was having an affair. They're staying at my house for the time being while she saves up money for a place of their own. My niece and daughter usually get along, and they both bond over their interests in Roblox. Last week, my daughter was completely distraught and crying non-stop. She said that she saw her cousin playing on a Roblox game and realized her cousin's avatar had a lot more items than usual. She decided to join her, only to realize that her account had been hacked and she'd lost nearly every item she had on her favorite Roblox game. She'd lost 800,000 of the in-game currency and nearly her entire inventory, which she claimed was worth over 5 million of the in-game currency. She had spent the last 4 years saving up for those items and everything was just gone like that. My daughter began accusing my niece of hacking her account. My niece denied it at first, but quickly broke under pressure and admitted everything. The previous day, they'd been playing the game together when I called them down to dinner. My niece had only been playing for a few months and I suppose she would be considered a noob. She begged my daughter to give her some of her items and my daughter refused, saying that she should earn the items by herself. When my daughter came down, my niece decided to stay behind for a minute to transfer all of my daughter's items into her account. I tried to mediate the situation, but my sister is refusing to cooperate. She told me that it's only a game, it's not like my daughter spent real money on it. I attempted to explain just how much this game means to my daughter, to which my sister said that my daughter should count herself lucky that her biggest problem is a bunch of pixels on a screen. She said my daughter was a teenager now and was too old to be acting this immature over a game. My niece refuses to give my daughter her stuff back and says it's unfair that my daughter gets to have everything she wants, both in real life and online. I told my sister and niece that both of them were acting like ungrateful brats, considering how I was letting them stay in my home rent-free. Today, I gave her an ultimatum. If my niece doesn't return everything she hacked for my daughter, they would both have 1 week to leave. I told her that I refuse to let anyone disrespect my daughter under my roof. Am I the jerk? OP's 1,000,000% not the jerk, and honestly I think that daughter seeing OP do that and stand up for them is going to know that not only do their parents care, but that they're just an awesome parent in general. I feel like there's so many parents out there who wouldn't take the time to even learn what Roblox is for a kid, or how any of the systems work or understand any of it, and allow that lack of understanding to influence and marginalize the severity of how it feels to have something that you worked on for a long time and care about stolen from you. I honestly think if this happened to me, I might have had an experience that was like, oh, it's just some computer game, just get another one. Bamf1701 wrote, not the jerk, I am getting so tired of people telling other people that they're too old to love the things they love. Let people enjoy the things they want to and enjoy life. It doesn't matter if your daughter is too old for the game or if she didn't spend any real money on the items. What matters is that your niece stole from your daughter and your sister wants to give her no repercussions for this action. How much longer until your niece decides that that's not fair, that your daughter has something else that she doesn't have and takes it from you? Or that you have something that she doesn't and takes that? Theft is theft. And if your sister doesn't put a stop to it now, it can start a slippery slope, especially since that your niece is seeing that she has her mother's approval. Yes, your niece has been given a raw deal, but that is no excuse to steal, especially from someone who not only had nothing to do with why she has this bad situation, but who was sharing her home to try to help her out. Both your niece and your sister has taken your hospitality and broken your trust. Our next story is, am I the jerk for refusing to pay for birthday presents for my son that he can only use at my ex-wife's place? I'm a 52-year-old male recently separated from my ex, 49-year-old female of 18 years. We share custody, week on, week off, with our 2 children, a 13-year-old daughter, and soon-to-be 15-year-old son. The relationship ended mostly amicably. No one cheated on each other, as far as I know, just drifted apart, friend-zoned. When we split, we agreed that I would stay in our old 4-bedroom family home for a few more years while our kids were still at high school. We lived right next door to my son's high school. I would continue to pay down our mortgage on my own and also pay for any additional renovations on my own that we still have left to complete since buying the place 4 years ago. When the time comes to sell, she'll get her 50%. She agreed to move out into her own 3-bedroom rental out by the beach. I'm paying her child support, as she only earns about a third of what I do in her part-time, 30 hours per week job. The rest of her income comes from government social support. We have a joint bank account where we both put money into to cover the kids' general needs. This week is my son's 15th birthday. He's big into gaming, basketball, and fishing. When he moves between our 2 places, he brings his Xbox with him. I have paid for 2 computer monitors, one at each property, just so he can do this easily and be happy. He has a homemade basketball hoop that he helped me build and paint for him when he was a young 10-year-old lad, mounted on the outside of my house for him to practice whenever he stays with me. My ex emailed me to ask me what I think we should get him for his birthday, i.e. share costs for. She listed 2 things. Firstly, a freestanding basketball hoop and a gaming chair, all up around $1,000 total, both to be used only at her place for his enjoyment there. I've refused to help her buy these particular options. I'd prefer it if we spent our money on something that he'll enjoy getting the benefits from wherever he may be, like new clothes, a new device, a new bike, fishing gear, etc., or a shared family experience with both of us present. I thought that was reasonable. My ex-wife thinks that I'm being a jerk with this stance, for not agreeing to pay anything for these particular presents, to help furnish her house or his bedroom there. She's suggesting that it's not fair that he can play basketball in my place and not hers, or that he feels more comfortable playing video games in my place and not hers. She's now accusing me of starting to play some kind of petty tit-for-tat game with her by not fairly contributing enough towards my son's happiness on his birthday. My fear is that I am indeed being unnecessarily picky with this battle, being too selfish, and denying her the right to be able to make her home as happy or as comfortable as mine for my son to live in. Am I the jerk? Would it be nice if he had this actual basketball hoop to be able to play with? Yeah, obviously. Is OP the jerk for not wanting to split the costs on this, especially when it's not something that's going to be at their place? I don't really think so, and I think that the gifts that they do want to contribute towards are great ideas. And also, I'm big on basketball too, so just for giggles, I've looked around in the past at freestanding basketball hoops and the costs, and you can get a pretty darn decent one for like half that price. And they're not like the deluxe giant backboard models, but like I've seen perfectly good ones in like the $200 range. I mean, for $1,000, you're asking for like an NBA regulation level hoop that is actually mounted into the ground. Cami Sang wrote, "Not the jerk. First up, he's 15. You don't need Wii presents. Secondly, it's convenient that she wants you to pay for something he already has at your house to be installed at her home, and a second gift for her space." One of the things I learned is that the kids will not remember or care who paid for what, but re-money, they will remember which parent they had experiences with, and which parent made their home a comforting place for them. Don't invest in your ex's space, unless you think it really serves your son over something you can do with him and he can have at your home. As long as you're fairly paying child support, it's on her to provide as well. You have no duty to make anything equal. That being said, buy your son something you think he will truly enjoy. This next story is, am I the jerk for making my sister-in-law pay for a professional cleaning service after she cooked in my kitchen? Last week, I invited my sister-in-law, who loves cooking, to stay with us. She offered to cook dinner as a way to show her gratitude. However, I have a meticulously organized and spotless kitchen due to my severe anxiety around mess and disorder, something that my family is well aware of. Despite this, after she cooked, the kitchen was left in what I would consider a disastrous state. Spills on the counter, pots not cleaned properly, and utensils misplaced. It took me hours just to calm down after seeing the mess. The next day, I calmly explained how distressed it made me feel and asked if she could cover the cost of a professional cleaning service to restore it to its original condition. She was shocked and upset by my request, arguing that she had already contributed by buying groceries and spending her evening cooking for us. My husband thinks I was too harsh and should have cleaned it myself or let it go this time. This has caused tension between us and his sister. So Reddit, am I the jerk for insisting she pays for the cleaning service, knowing my issues with anxiety and cleanliness? So I think the problem here is OP knows that they have a major issue, and it was almost inevitable that somebody cooking in that kitchen was going to cause an issue. And in any case, if they agreed, they should have done so with the stipulation that they need to return and clean everything back to the exact spotless state it was in to begin with. OP knowing that if it wasn't, this would be an issue, and not disclosing that, I think that puts the blame on OP. Curious Jess wrote, "You're the jerk, knowing your issues with anxiety and cleanliness. You need to take steps to manage those issues, like booking an extra therapy session, not letting people cook in your kitchen if it's going to send you into a tailspin, being clear about your expectations for how you would like things to be cleaned up afterwards, or helping to clean up so that you can make sure things get put away where you'd like them to be. If she cleaned up to a normal person's reasonable standards, then this is your issue and you need to own it and not ask her to pay for a cleaning service. If you really feel you need that, pay for it yourself, although I doubt they would be up to your standards either. Thank her for dinner and maybe have her cook for you at her place next time." Our next story is, am I the jerk for telling my mom I won't pay rent and do chores to live with them? Hello, I'm 24-year-old female and I live with my parents currently. I'm doing this to save money and they haven't charged me rent until now. I've been basically paying rent by doing the chores, mainly cleaning the house, grocery shopping, managing their bills, cooking their meals, and taking care of my 5-year-old female cousin due to some circumstances. My parents are currently her guardians when I'm off work. This hasn't left me with that much free time. However, it's been in fact helping me save money, so I've been more than happy with this arrangement. Recently, however, my parents have asked me to start paying rent. I asked them if everything was okay and if they're struggling, but they told me that's not the case and they just feel like I should contribute more since they've been letting me stay with them for free after finishing college. I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit bumped, but the rent they wanted from me was still a way better deal than anything else I would find somewhere else, so I accepted. A few hours ago, however, my mom confronted me about how I've been slacking off on my chores after I told her I can't take care of my cousin since I had plans with some friends. She said they tried to be understanding, but this can't keep going on. And I asked her what she meant. Since the deal was that me doing chores was going to be how I pay rent, now that I'm actually paying rent, I'll stop doing them. And I thought that was obvious. She got mad, called me ungrateful and spoiled. I told her she can't expect me to pay rent and do all these chores that left me with no free time, and that I'd be better off if I just found my own place, even if it was going to cost me more at this point. She got angry once more because I'd rather give money to some stranger than your own family, and said that she can't believe how big of a jerk I am and to just wait until my dad hears about it. He's going to be back in a few hours, and honestly I've been thinking about our fight, if you can even call it that, and I'm wondering if I am really entitled for how I feel. Edit, thank you everyone for your input. I think the majority of you are right when it comes to the moving out thing. This is probably the only solution regardless of the outcome of our hopefully peaceful family discussion. Thank you for the advice and suggestions. Edit 2, update. Some of you have been asking for an update once I have the talk with my parents, so here it is. But first of all, I'd like to clear some things up. English is not my first language, and I suppose the use of the word chores confused some people. By chores, I don't mean just washing the dishes and taking out the trash. A lot of you also assumed that just because I don't think it's fair I continue cleaning their mess, this means I suddenly want them to be my maid and cook and do everything for me. How y'all reached that conclusion instead of the sane one where I'd continue doing stuff for myself is beyond me, but anyways. No, I do not expect them to clean after me or cook my food or whatever. I still do those things. They do not support me financially and haven't done so since I finished college 2 years ago. I pay 1/3 of the bills with my own money. I buy my own groceries, whatever shared necessities, toilet paper, cleaning products, etc. I also contribute to. If I want or need something, I buy it myself. The reason I'm still living with them is literally the beginning of the first sentence. I don't know how many of you could have just skipped that part. Yes, I am aware that once I move out, I'll have to pay both rent and do chores. I've lived with roommates before, and I know I'd have to share chores with them as well, and to be honest, I preferred that compared to what my parents expected of me. Now on to the update. My dad came home last night a few hours after I made that post, and he told me Mom informed him about our fight, but he's tired and we'll talk about it in the morning. I was quite anxious and could barely sleep, not gonna lie. Well, the morning came and we had the talk. My dad told me that he's discussed things with Mom, and he does kinda understand why I'd be unhappy with our new arrangement, but that he still considers they're giving me an amazing deal. I asked, as some suggested in the comments, if they're struggling financially, which he denied. Then I asked if they just wanted me to move out and don't know how to tell me. Once again, he denied that, and both of them got slightly offended that I'd even suggest that. So yeah, they haven't even given me an exact reason for their change of heart. They just think it's still a fair deal even with the added rent. I told them that I get it's their house and they can do what they want, but personally, I don't find it fair, so I'll be trying to move out as soon as possible. They didn't quite like that either. My mom brought up once more the fact that I would rather make a stranger rich than contribute to our household, which made me kinda mad because I think I've done my fair share of contributing to the household so far. She started tearing up a bit and went on a rant about how she can't believe her only child would do this to her, and to at least think of my cousin, and how my cousin loves me and abandoning her would destroy her. My father then told me he thinks I'm irrational, and that he'll allow me to calm down and rethink my decision when I'm less agitated. I was the calmest out of the three of us, because I'll see that they're right once I've thought things through. So yeah, that's the update. I already started searching for a place, and I think I'll just let them think I've accepted their new terms until I can find anything, so wish me luck. I think it's pretty clear OP's not the jerk here. I do kind of subscribe to the line of thinking of, if you want me to pay rent, I'll pay rent. If you want me to do all the chores and cooking and whatnot, I can do that and not pay rent. But don't go trying to maximize my every output in every way possible until I just can't take it anymore. You want me to give you money weekly or monthly? Sure, but at that point I'm pulling back and I'm just taking care of my necessities and cleaning up after myself. Red Pen Raccoon wrote, not the jerk. They want you to pay them on top of you doing all of their housework when you have a job? When you said chores, I was expecting you to say doing the dishes or taking out the trash or cleaning the kitchen sometimes. But you're their cook, their maid, their personal shopper, their childcare, their accountant. Do they pay you for any of that? Your parents are guilt-tripping you. You're not a jerk, you're a human being with limits. If I were you, I'd save up as much money as possible and move out ASAP. Alarmed Jellyfish 555 responded saying, exactly. This is so far beyond chores that OP was already being taken advantage of when she was living there at no cost. Now she's supposed to pay for the privilege of being completely taken advantage of? Time to get the heck out of there. A second job to cover the difference in rent is still going to be a far better option than what they were offering her. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another absolutely crazy Am I the Jerk Here story, check out that video on the left. Or if you missed my latest video, check out that video on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.